today.
I'm back. What's up?
They're here and gathered.
All right, good. We have quite a few things to go through. Let's make sure that everyone's getting ready for this.
I am almost done fighting this champion bird.
You must leave it.
Good.
Let's go.
I can't leave it, and I have to concentrate, so I can't pay attention to you.
All right. Well, as interesting as that is, whoever you are, we have a meeting, and everyone is
One
to be in
voice
the main
among
channel.
hundreds.
We're going to make sure that we are getting this off on time. It is just now getting to be 9 o'clock game time on East Coast, and that is 6 o'clock Pacific. We try to get these meetings going because it is actually fairly late for the East Coast crew. Okay. There's a lot of news to go over from the various games. For the SWTOR branch, I want to make sure that everyone is meeting on the ship, and we have a lot of conquest to discuss. There's a lot of different news from multiple current games, upcoming games, and upcoming expansions that we have to go through at this time. Firstly, I wanted to talk about the last week's performance from the active SWTOR branch. We have successfully completed our first planetary conquest. Our guild dreadnought, which is our guild hall, is 100% complete. Our guild city is completely opened. We control the planet of Ilum, and we will be working on conquering the planet Belsavis, which would be somewhat difficult. I want to make sure everyone's showing up. A few things regarding just promotion and upcoming changes across the organization. Promotions and advancement are open for all branches in Star Wars: The Old Republic. That means that for HR, PvP, raiding, whatever, we're looking for additional people to step up to help organize that content. We have old content typically being run on Sunday, though there will be some additional runs this evening in approximately 2 hours. Celestia will be getting groups together for a variety of content there. Other active branches, promotion is open. However, in World of Warcraft, we will be closing PvP advancement due to the fact that in the coming, I believe, 2 weeks, the next major patch will be released.
I can speak to that if you want.
Go ahead.
Right, so hopefully you all know who I am. If you don't, I'm Director Lazarus. I'm directly in charge of the PvP operations in World of Warcraft. So I've stopped all advancement in PvP in the PvP department as far as corporal to sergeant, so on and so forth. Primarily, I don't feel that in the coming weeks, with the shutdown of RBGs, the shutdown of Arena, and the pre-launch event, as much World PvP as that will instill, because myself and Archaeos will be so active during that time, and the area it'll be happening in is so small, I don't believe a lot of you will have the real opportunity to prove yourself to me or to my subordinates that you are capable of leading small-scale or large-scale PvP respectively. So, in the interest of fairness towards you, any of you who are interested in advancement in the PvP department, I've stopped that until Warlords launches. Now, I will take into great consideration and great appreciation all those who take time now to be good Samaritans and help gear up your fellow guild members, help establish our world PvP dominance, or who are just in general more helpful in world PvP. I will be keeping an eye on that. But as far as direct promotions to corporal or any advancement from corporal to sergeant, so on and so forth, it is henceforth paused until the launch of Warlords. Questions, comments, concerns?
All right, so in any event, that is the basic overall news. For those of you who are unaware, the end of Mist of Pandaria is arriving. This is the end of the PvP season, and it will be the end of a variety of other content as well. I believe challenge modes are also being shut down.
Yes, that is correct. Challenge modes, Brawlers Guild, RBGs, and Rated Arena will no longer be accessible in 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks to complete them.
Also, as a general bit of news, those of you who have not picked up your legendary cloak quest line on your characters have to do that before the expansion. That will also be gone. We don't have any confirmation about any other Gear limitations, I believe all the other legendaries will still be available unless they make some changes. But that's where we're at. Blizzard is doubling down on World of Warcraft. They announced officially that Titan is canceled permanently. There will be no next generation MMO from Blizzard in the foreseeable future. It's going to be World of Warcraft as their primary MMO franchise. So the expansion has a lot riding on it. They're doing a lot to make it fun. The garrison system looks very promising. The guild will be changing. For those of you who are newer to the organization and perhaps are unaware of what we are one of the largest, if not the largest, World PvP organization in the United States in MMOs. We are currently largely dormant in World of Warcraft because the expansion has not yet arrived. There's very little for us to do that we haven't done, and we have learned from past campaigns in World of Warcraft that if we are too aggressive, we will kill the active PvP on the server very quickly. I don't want to crush the will to fight on the server before the expansion comes out, so we have been keeping our presence here as low as possible. We did, however, engage in an event last week. The leadership of the largest PvP guild on Bleeding Hollow in Iron Wolf Clan apparently were trying to hold a wedding in Stormwind between their GM and co-GM. And I just don't know what they were expecting, but for all of you who do enjoy Game of Thrones, it was an opportunity that we couldn't resist, and we shut the doors, and there was the Game of Thrones music playing.
In real life?
I don't know, and I don't want to know.
I
Common
want to know.
law. So the answer is no, because I don't recognize the legal status of where are they from? Kentucky?
Montana.
Whatever. I don't know. Who knows? In any event, they had a bad time. The ceremony was, in fact, interrupted. We'll have quite a bit of fun going into the expansion. A few things will change. One will be much more active in World PvP in Oshrin. We're going to be using the main lobby as a place where people will be going in. There's plenty of other world events and world bosses and other things that we'll be doing on the side. But expect, for all intents and purposes, the Guild Wars 2 level of activity to be returning. If you were present for that campaign, that means we will have multiple channels for large-scale PvP going pretty much around the clock. We'll have a night crew. We're going to be fighting consistently. It's going to be a blast. People will be working on expanding their personal homes and their garrisons and otherwise gearing up in Oshrin. So it should be quite a bit of fun. A few things, other games, things that we're covering right now. We have a lot to go over, and I'll get some links out for all of you. One, I wanted to take some time to discuss Star Citizen this evening. It is an upcoming game that we are highly interested in, and due to the time-sensitive nature of this next pledge drive, we want to make sure that this is handled. For those of you who have been keeping tabs or are veterans in the guild, we've been keeping an eye on this game for some time. It is being produced by RSI, which is basically the moniker put on by the previous producer of
Wing Commander.
Wing Commander, and no, I was thinking Freelancer and the rest, but it's what's his name? Chris Roberts. And he is doing what is, as far as we can tell, the most ambitious space game to date. Now, it's very, very difficult to know if the ambitious goals that have been set forth by Chris Roberts will be attainable, but the concept is similar to EVE Online, except you have full control of your character. Apparently wants to put in some sort of ground combat game, and you fly ships. So if you can...
my personal favorite was everyone will have, or the 3 alien races will have their own languages crafted by linguists hired on by the team. That's been my personal favorite promise so far.
Yes, let's see whether that happens. That's a lot of work. But my point is, going forward, the type of play you'll be expecting will be broad and varied. Many of you don't like dogfighting in fighter aircraft. but many of you might prefer instead doing ground activities and gathering, or doing resourcing or whatever else. So think of a large vessel similar to, frankly, our guild starship in World of Warcraft, or in SWTOR, or any of the other player vehicles in World of Warcraft or whatever else. We're looking to build up our fleet in that game. Some of the directors and officers here have provided us with a very substantial starting fleet. In our personal fleet, we have many multiplayer ships that are already available, but the two largest in our fleet are a frigate, which has been purchased by Modius, and I believe has a crew of 9, plus whoever else is on it in the passenger capacity.
That's correct.
And we also are looking to purchase an additional reclaimer. It is a larger industrial and combat ship, salvage ship, which will have a crew of, I believe, 5 to 7. It's a little unclear what that will be about. So that's what we will be doing. We are looking to find a crew of 7 people. Basically, the way it works is we will be looking for donations towards that project. I believe the drive closes this Friday, so it has to be done quickly. If you do the math, it's $350 divided by 7 people, works out to exactly $50 a person. I need to have that handled. I need donations sent in with the individual that will be playing and what it is for, so we can get this thing purchased to add to our fleet. Otherwise, we'll end up with a lot of ships owned by 1 or 2 players, and they can only be in one at a time. So we need to make sure that we have veterans and dependable people that we know will be around when this game finally gets out, to be piloting these much larger capital ships and sub-capital ships so that we can have a crew. That way, we will have these ships, and those individuals who are getting in late, want to try it out, will always be able to come on as gunners or engineers or logistics support players or whatever else. The game, if you look into this, it is using a more modern engine. It's using the Crytek engine. It's beautiful. It's being streamed, I believe, by Commander Morphine right now. Is that correct?
Yes.
He can put a link in so that you can see what it's all about. This is just a dogfighting module. It's not complete vaporware. It is the most successful crowdfunded video game to date. Chris Roberts is a very successful game developer, and I have every confidence that he's going to do a good job with this, so we are interested in getting involved. Modius, I'm going to give you control of this raid group so that I can form up an additional one to move on. So if you are interested in playing Star Citizen with us, we would like to have access to being in one of these very large vessels. These are basically special edition vessels that are only available now as part of the crowdfunding campaign. They'll be available in-game in some limited capacity, but they won't be special edition. They'll be different models. They won't have lifetime insurance, yada, yada, yada. So if you are not a poor college student and you'd like to get in on this, we are opening this up to be available for people now that we have completed our Guild City and Starship in Star Wars: The Old Republic. This is the perfect additional focus for us to be looking in. So if you're not interested, if you don't like flying ships yourself and would prefer to just be on a gun turret or be performing some other role on these larger vessels, this is perfect for you, and I am aware that we're going to have this need. We also anticipate large non-combat vessels being a significant part of the game. My understanding there will be like large merchant ships and so on. I've seen some concept work, but I'm not exactly sure how that functions. Modius and Morphine would be the individuals to talk about. So on to other games. We have quite a few people who are trying
Shadow of
Archage. If you want to talk Shadows of Mordor, you can go ahead and talk about it.
Good. Buy it. Lord of the Rings. Wraith shit. Swords. Orcs. Buy it. Smoke.
What is
Batman
this?
style combat.
My precious.
It's a lot
Right.
of fun. And
So it's for the PC as well, yes?
yeah, I bought mine on Steam.
On Steam, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so therefore a lot easier to work with. On to the next bit. I have been playing a little Destiny. I haven't had enough time to really get into it, but it's a very promising game. It's a beautiful game. It has a lot of promise in the additional expansions and additional DLC that they're providing for it. It's similar to a cross between, I would say, Borderlands and it kind of has a multiplayer aspect. It's not quite purely an MMO. We can't have a guild in it. It has a lot of other features. It is definitely very similar playstyle to Halo, and it has a lot of different world events, world bosses, raiding, dungeons. But it is a first-person shooter. We will have a small contingent in that game. If you're interested in joining up, you can contact us, Lesty, and we'll have that handled. I have a small group of friends and officers who've been testing it, but I can endorse it to the extent that it is a fun game to play in the interim. For those of you who are playing World of Warcraft, the seasons are ending. We're going to have about a month to 2 months of the PvP season being over, and you are all going to be prepping for the next expansion. That means since you're no longer pushing arena raiding or doing whatever else, it's the perfect time for you to do your transmog runs and get your gold stores up, but also try some of the other games that are out there. We have a small group of people playing Archage. It seems to be somewhat promising, although it's not a major focus for the organization right now. We're doing a lot in Star Wars, the Old Republic. Our guild ship is amazing. Our guild city is awesome. It is free to play. There's no risk for you to pick it up. Planetary Conquest is great. We were successful in our meeting, or rather in our campaign last week. We're going to be doing a lot of additional content, so it doesn't matter what level you are. I will personally help out with getting you through all of this. And as I said, we are organizing fundraising for ships in Star Citizen. So that is basically your news. Going forward, are there any other major games or expansions that I have missed or major dates I've missed? Take that as a no. We will be doing the usual meetup in Anaheim for BlizzCon. We are also doing more East Coast meetups during the summer. For those of you who missed out this year, we did a meetup on the Cape. It was quite a bit of fun. Expect similar June or July scheduling to be set up for that. In addition to that, we will be having additional meetups, cookouts, and restaurant meetups here in Southern California as well.
Oh,
We had
Texas.
a meetup. Well, nobody wants to go there. I understand there is Ebola now, so as soon as you get that under control, we'll consider having,
Dallas. I live in Houston.
in good conscience, we'll be able to then set up some meetups in that state. Just as a pro tip to your governor, you might want to tell him to limit the flights coming out of Liberia during an Ebola outbreak, because that just seems like it would be the prudent thing to do.
Right.
Whoa.
Just so you know. The rest of civilized United States would like you guys to be on board with that. Going forward, it's 9/17. The SWTOR branch, we will be doing some raiding in approximately an hour and a half. The Conquest is very Starfighter heavy, so I want you to be doing as many PvP matches, Starfighter matches, or whatever else to make sure that we are competitive for the top slot this week. Otherwise, World of Warcraft group, I want you moving to our world boss clear. At this time, portal's up to the shrine. We're going to move out from there, and we'll be covering the rest.